They thought they had destroyed me. They thought they had burned every bridge, cut every tie, and left me with nothing but ashes. But here's the truth. They didn't break me. They didn't realize that the bridge they burned, that was the only way back for them. When you think there's no way out, no way to turn back, that's when the real power lies. Because sometimes, the thing that people fear the most isn't your success. It's your ability to rise from the fire they tried to destroy you. So, ask yourself, have you ever been pushed so far that you had no choice but to fight back? No choice but to become someone you never thought you could be? This is more than just a story. This is the turning point of your life. Today, I'm going to share something that will change the way you see adversity. This isn't just another story about overcoming obstacles or getting back up after you fall. No, this is about understanding the power you gain when everything seems lost. When you've been pushed to the edge and have nowhere else to go. Imagine this. Everything you've built is stripped away. Your past is burned. You're left staring at the wreckage. That's when you'll realize the bridge they burned was your only way back. In this video, I'm not just going to tell you about the pain and struggle. You already know about that. What I'm going to show you is the hidden strength that lies within every person who's ever been knocked down, ignored, or underestimated. You might feel like you're at your lowest point, but I'm about to reveal how that very moment could be your greatest opportunity. This isn't about pretending that everything is easy. It's about showing you how the broken pieces of your life can be turned into something unstoppable. So, stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see that the darkest moments are not the end. They're the beginning of a comeback. A comeback so powerful, it will make those who doubted you regret ever counting you out. We all know what it feels like to be knocked down. Life hits you with things you never expected. Betrayal, failure, loss. It feels like the world has turned its back on you, leaving you to deal with the wreckage alone. And the hardest part? When those closest to you, family, friends, even colleagues, are the ones who burn the bridges. They leave you with nothing but a choice. Accept your fate and stay down, or rise from the ashes and rebuild, despite the odds. The problem is, we often underestimate the pain of these moments. We think we can handle anything, but when life delivers a blow that shatters everything you've worked for, it's a different kind of pain. It's not just physical. It's the emotional weight that drags you down, making you question your worth, your choices, even your future. In these moments, it's easy to feel like there's no way back. The bridge is gone, the path forward is unclear, and the road behind you is blocked by the people who once held your hand. But here's the thing. That feeling of helplessness, that's the trap. That's when the enemy, whether it's the world or your own doubts, wants you to believe that this is the end of your journey, that there's no way forward, no chance of redemption. But I'm here to tell you that this is exactly where the story begins. You see, the problem isn't that you're broken. It's that you've been convinced that your brokenness defines you. It doesn't. Every time you've been torn down, every person who's left you in the dirt has only made you stronger. They've given you something that can't be taken away. The ability to rise, to fight back, and to turn the pain into power. So the real challenge here isn't the fall, it's the belief that you can't rise again. And that's what we're going to change. Now, let's talk about what happens when you reach that breaking point, the moment when it feels like there's nothing left. You've been pushed, pulled, betrayed, and hurt so deeply that it seems impossible to imagine coming out of it. But I need you to understand something fundamental. This moment, this dark chapter of your life, is not your end. It's your rebirth. Every time you faced hardship, there's been a lesson hidden in the struggle. It's hard to see it when you're in the middle of the storm, but every failure, every painful experience is shaping you. Let's take a moment to look at history, because the greatest success stories were not written in times of comfort. They were forged in the fires of struggle. Take someone like Steve Jobs. He was ousted from the very company he founded, humiliated, and left with nothing. For years, people thought his journey was over. But what happened next? He didn't wallow in self-pity. He took that pain, that rejection, and used it as fuel. Jobs created Pixar, built a new vision for Apple, and returned with a vengeance, turning Apple into one of the most valuable companies in the world. People who once laughed at his downfall were left speechless by his comeback. Or consider Oprah Winfrey, a woman who faced more rejection than most can imagine. She was told she was too emotional for television, too unpolished, and yet she transformed those very critiques into the cornerstone of her success. Oprah didn't just bounce back. She became an icon. She used her struggles to fuel her desire to change the world, one conversation at a time. These stories are proof that the greatest comebacks often come from the deepest failures. But the key isn't just in surviving the struggle. It's in understanding that struggle has a purpose. You're not just being tested. You're being transformed. The betrayal. Now imagine that those very experiences were stepping stones to the person you were always meant to be. The pain didn't destroy you, it shaped you. The fight wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to prepare you for greatness. When you look at your past struggles, do you see them as a weight or as a lesson? It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the world is against you. But the truth is, it's not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens. You see, when people burn bridges, they think they've cut you off. They believe they've taken everything from you. But what they don't realize is that they've only given you one thing: the space to build something stronger. This is the moment when everything changes. You're no longer a victim of your circumstances. You're no longer the person who has to fight to prove your worth to others. No, you've become someone who knows what it's like to stand tall when everyone else wants you to fall. You've learned the real power of resilience. And this is where the magic happens. Because when you start looking at your pain not as a burden, but as the raw material to build your new future, that's when you stop being a victim. That's when you stop letting the world dictate who you are. Now it's your turn. You've been handed the toughest battles. And while they might have torn you down, they've also made you someone unbreakable. The question is, are you ready to stand up and take that strength to the next level? And then, in the silence of my darkest hour, I realized something. Something that would change everything. I wasn't broken. I wasn't defeated. I was forged. Every scar, every tear, Every single painful experience had shaped me into someone unrecognizable to the world, but exactly who I was meant to become. In that moment, I saw the truth. In this moment, I saw it naked and very powerful. It's 2,000 thousands of years ago. In that moment, I saw the thousands of years. Those weren't just endings. They were the beginning of my transformation. The very thing they thought would destroy me became the fuel for my rebirth. I didn't just bounce back from the ashes. I was reborn from them, stronger, sharper, more determined than ever before. Every failure that once felt like a weight around my neck became the foundation for something unstoppable. And as I stood there, I understood something critical. The bridge they burned wasn't just my way back. It was theirs too. They thought they'd removed me from the equation. But what they failed to see was that they had pushed me into the furnace of growth, where all my weaknesses were transformed into weapons of resilience. When you stop seeing your struggles as setbacks and start seeing them as stepping stones, that's when the shift happens. That's when you stop looking back at what you've lost and start focusing on the power you've gained. That's when you realize that the strength to rise doesn't come from what you have. It comes from what you've survived. So now, when they look at me, they don't see the broken version of me they once knew. They see someone who's been forged in fire, someone who has learned to turn every failure, every betrayal, into the fuel that powers their next step forward. And now when they watch me rise, they'll understand one thing. They'll never get to take me down again. So the next time life knocks you down, when the world turns its back, when they burn that bridge, or when you feel like you've got nowhere left to go, remember this. It's not the end. It's the beginning. The hardest moments in your life are not there to break you. They're there to shape you into something unrecognizable, something powerful. The truth is, every struggle, every setback, every betrayal has been part of your training, preparing you for the greatness you've yet to achieve. You might feel lost, like you've hit rock bottom, but I promise you, the very thing that feels like the end right now is the launch pad for your greatest comeback. You've already survived the worst. And now it's time to turn that pain into strength, to rise from the ashes and reclaim what's yours. Because what they don't know is that you're not just rising again. You're becoming the person you were always meant to be. You've been through the fire, and now you're the one who will burn brighter than ever before. So let this be your reminder. Nothing, no one, can take away the power you've gained from the struggles you've faced. It's time to step into your power and take control of your future. You are not defined by your failures or your past. You are defined by how you rise from them. And trust me, your comeback will be so powerful, so unstoppable, that those who tried to break you will be left in awe. Now go out there and show the world what happens when they underestimate your strength. If this video hit home for you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and comment below. Let me know how you're rising from your struggles. If you're ready to embrace your strength and take control, hit that subscribe button. Together, we'll keep pushing forward and turning every setback into the fuel for our comeback.